In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to cut this stylish underbust flea dress with shoulder ruche. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. Now to start, I'm going to start by drafting the upper part of this pattern. I went ahead to mark my shoulder to bust, under bust and waistline. This is for the upper part. Now I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2. After marking that, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. So for the neckline, I marked 3.5 here, but I later readjusted it to 3 inches after connecting my shoulder slant or shoulder slope at this back. I'll just go ahead to mark 3 inches and slant back. Next, I'm going to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I'll draw a line. I'll mark back my shoulder divided by 2, place my ruler, and I will connect. After marking, I'm going to divide what I have here into 2, come out by 1/2 inch, and here I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'll place my curve drill, connect to the upper part and connect to my bust circumference divided by 4. Now for this pattern, I'll just go ahead to mark out a basic dart, which I'll start marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. And after marking that line, I'll go ahead to place my ruler to connect. I'm going to go ahead to mark 1 inch after my bust line and then 1/2 inch on both sides of my waist. After marking this, I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to go ahead to connect this all the way to the upper part of my pattern. Next is to insert my measurement. At the bust, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. After marking that, add any sewing allowance of your choice. Mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart you have there, replace it. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart you have here, replace it. Add your sewing allowance of your choice. Now go ahead to connect this all the way down. After I'm done connecting at this part, I'm going to mark my bust dart. And to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. If I deduct 15.5 from 17, I have 1.5 inches, and which I marked for my bust dart. I also went ahead to use my marker to outline my pattern. So after I'm done doing this, just come up by 1/2 inch at my bust point. So if you don't want to use this, use whatever that is okay for you, and I'll come in by 1/2 inch. From there, I'm going to place my curve drill and I'll connect from the under bust all the way to that point. After marking this, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to connect towards this side. Now, you can connect towards your under bust or go down by 1 inch after your under bust. I'll connect the neckline to the upper part. After connecting this is what I have for this pattern, and I'll go ahead to outline. Now to create this design we have at the neckline area. From this part, you can come in by 0.7 or 1 inch. So I'm using 0.75 and I'm going to place my ruler to connect. Now this is what I have. I will be cutting out that part. Now at the under bust area, we have like a slash and spread. That is a little slash and spread to create that little pleat we have at the under bust area. Now also at the upper part, you're going to like stitch with 1/2 inch to create the channel where you're going to place your drawstrings. Now go ahead to blend this out and use your marker or pencil to blend out towards your under bust. After this, I'm going to use a tape to hold it and I'll cut out. Now, just like I said, at the upper part of your shoulder, you notice on this dress, there's a ruche at the shoulder. Now, you're going to use your joining allowance at the shoulder, stitch it down to one side, and go ahead to like make a drawstring to make strings and pass through it and then drag it to create that ruche. So I'll just go ahead to blend this out, or you can cut and join. So this is what we have for this upper part. I'll just slash this. This is to slash and open, like to give your under busts like that little pleat at that part, right? Now after this, the next step you're going to take is to go ahead to mark the back. I've gone ahead to mark out the zipper, the shoulder to chest line, bust, waistline. Remember, the shoulder to waist at the back is shorter than that of the front. This is why we have a bust that to blend out, so that the waistline of the front will match that of the back, right? I'll start by marking my dart, and I'll be using my nipple to nipple divided by 2. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll draw a straight line. After that, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides, come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to connect this on both sides. After marking this, I'll insert my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance there. Now I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, pick the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Use any sewing allowance of your choice, then I'll go ahead to connect. After connecting, I'm going to go ahead to come in by ½ inch here to take out the zipper bulge, and I will connect this all the way to the upper part of this pattern. Now this is what I have here. For the neckline of this dress, I'll come in by 3 inches and connect it to the zipper of this dress. After that, I'll just go ahead to cut out my back pattern. So if you have any question regarding this particular pattern drafting, please go ahead to leave your question at the comment section. Also remember, at the shoulder of the front and the back, you're going to join it, then use your stitching allowance, stitch it to one side to create the channel where you pass your strings. So this is what I have. Moving over to the lower part, we're going to cut the form of a flake. So the first thing you need to note is your waist measurement. So my waist is 28, and we're cutting the front part separately and the back part separately. So first, I'm going to fold my paper into 4. So I'll be using a 360-degree flay for this dress. After folding the first, I'm going to fold the next one, making it into 4 folding. Now remember, like I said, my waist is 28. Now we'll divide it into 2. My front will now be 14, the back will now be 14. So what I will do is that 14 inches I'm using to cut out for the front, I'm going to add like a sewing allowance to both sides. Let's say I'm adding 1 inch sewing allowance to both sides, it will give me 16. Now for the back, since my waistline is 28 and I divided it by 2, now we've gotten the front. For the back, you also use that half of your waistline. My half is 14, extra sewing allowance 1 inch on both sides will give you 16. Now because this is the back and you'll be adding a zipper allowance to it, now you add your zipper allowance. Let's say you're using 1 inch on both sides. If you add that 1 inch on both sides, what you're going to have is 18 inches. So for the front flay, I'll be using a waistline of 16, that is including my sewing allowance. For the back pattern, I'll be using total waistline of 18 inches. So let's go ahead to cut out the front. So that front that I have, which is 16. Now what I will do is I'll divide that 16 by 4. And when I divide it by 4, what I will have is 6 inches. I'll place my tape this way to form a semicircle that is about 4 inches. And I'll go ahead to draw it out this way. Now after drawing this out, to make sure that my circle is accurate and by the time I cut it open, it will give me the actual measurement. I'll place my tape at the tip and to where the tape stops. So I have roughly 2.25 inches. Now I'll take this all the way around my pattern. After that, I will now go ahead to reconnect it as my new circle or my accurate circle, And after I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to place my tape and now make sure that that new circle or semicircle I have is up to 4 inches. Now go ahead to take the length of your flay from your waist to the lower part. Remember to add additional 1 inch for folding allowance and then half inch for joining to the upper part. So after that, take the round measurement this way, place and mark the remaining length from your waist to the lower part, and then after marking, go ahead to connect these lines. And after connecting these lines, you're going to go ahead to cut this out as the lower part. So after cutting out for the front, this same process we use in cutting out for the front, you will use it to cut out for the back. It's just that your back will be having a zipper allowance. So slant this open, and remember for this dress there's a pocket at the side. Go ahead to attach this to the front, cut out the back pattern, attach, and then add a pocket by the side of your dress also.